I want to get to what's going on with some of your constituents. What is happening in Whitewater, Wisconsin?
Well, you're going to hear an awful lot of testimony, so I'll let them testify. But it's a small community, about 1,000 migrants all of a sudden showed up, and law enforcement is being overwhelmed by it. Their schools are being overwhelmed by it. And Congressman Stiles and I went there a number of months ago to hear the tale of woe, and it is. But again, that's just one little community. This is being replicated across the country in large cities and small communities where we primarily recognize the harm of the open border is more in drug trafficking, though. We don't have a huge migrant population from what I can discern traveling around talking to local law enforcement. Whitewater is somewhat of an outlier from that standpoint, but we used to have meth labs. Not that many years ago, that was a big problem for law enforcement. We don't have meth labs anymore because you can get meth a lot cheaper and of higher quality coming across the southwest border now. But we used to have a central drug trafficking hub in Chicago. Now we have multiple hubs in Wisconsin. So, I mean, you're going to hear, again, the tragic story from the Rockwells in terms of the loss of their son from, thought it was a pain pill, and it was fentanyl laced, and died by himself in his room. It's just tragic.
Yeah, what I observed was that even in circumstances where local law enforcement was able to seize substantial cartel funds, they couldn't interest ICE in cooperation to go after the cartels that were establishing a presence in your state. There's been a lot of question and discussion about how to effectuate the largest deportation in American history, which is needed. Wouldn't some of those experiences that you've observed as a senator in Wisconsin kind of provide a pathway to do that, where when folks are doing the right thing from an investigative standpoint, and a community didn't choose to be a sanctuary city? Like, there's this theory that, well, the only places being overrun are the places that have chosen this sanctuary status. But I think in your state, you've observed that it's more broad.
No, and again, I think the Biden administration has pretty well dismantled the ability of ICE to really detain and cooperate effectively with local law enforcement. Again, that's going to require a new president. That's going to require new leadership at ICE within DHS that actually want to enforce the law. And by the way, the law enforcement officers within ICE, within CBP, they will welcome that. I mean, they want to enforce the law. They want to protect U.S. citizens. They are really beside themselves. That's part of the problem. We are seeing a high level of retirements. We can't we can't recruit law enforcement, whether it's local law enforcement after the defund law enforcement movement, but certainly CBP and ICE. I mean, it's just so dispiriting to sign up to protect the public and then basically be prevented from doing your job by this administration.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.